Hi, welcome to my video on the review of percents. The title is Review of Percents. I have page 1 of 6 written on the top right. I have a total. This is if you wish to correct your assignment as you do it, or at the end, or as you write down the total. The score is out of 60, so whatever you get out of 60 is converted to a decimal by dividing denominator into numerator. Change your decimal to percent by moving decimal 2 places to the right. So you need, if you wish to work this out first, you need to do 6 pages and mark on the top, page 1 of 6, 2 of 6, 3 of 6, 4, etc. on each page. So if you got pause the video, do your 6 pages before I start. Get them indicated by 1 of 6, 2 of 6. So here we go, page 2. So what you can do now, right now, is pause the video, work out all of these answers, and as you work them out, when you get it done, press play. And then you can mark the ones you got right and put your score here out of 5. Mark these and put your score out of 5. You can mark each of them and put your score over here that you have on that question. And when you get it done, do your total. Or you may do one question at a pause, do one question at a time, and mark it. It's your choice. When you get all your pages, and before you do that, the page 2, you should do 1, A, B, C, D, question 2, A, B, C, D, question 3, A, B, C, D, etc., right on down. Then you can work these out in the right location, easier to mark. Here we go. Number 1, 11%. Percent is out of 100, so it's 11 out of 100. 44% is 44 out of 100. But that would be the long way. That one should go in the hundreds place. But I think it's better to move your decimal 2 places to move that decimal 2 places to the left to get decimal 11. It's better to move your decimal 2 places to the left to get decimal 44. Change your percent to a decimal. You could put it over 100 and convert it to a decimal, or move your decimal point. I think it's easier to move your decimal point. So 150% is 1.5. You could put a 0 there or leave it off. Change your percent to a decimal, move it 2 places to the left, decimal 0.26. Percent to a decimal was 17 and a half is 17.5. 1/2 is 0.5. Move your decimal 2 places to the left is 0.17. Number 2. So if you're marking this, put your mark over there. Change each decimal to percent. Decimal to percent is move your decimal 2 places to the right. Move your decimal 2 places to the right. So it moves 2 places. Notice 2 places. Move your decimal 2 places to the right. So you get a 60. But not a 0. 2 places. 9, 1.4. 1, 2. 2 places. 1, 2. So it's 13.75%. Change each percent to a fraction and reduce. So percent means out of 100. So 7 out of 100. 7 is prime, can't reduce. 20% is 20 out of 100. Divide by 10, scratch your zeros. 2 into 2 goes 1. 2 into 10 goes 5. 120 over 100. Divide by 10, scratch your zeros. 2 into 12 goes 6. 2 into 10 goes 5. So you could have 6 over 5, or you could also have 5 into 6 goes 1 and 1 left over as a mixed numeral. 24.4 is 24.4 over 100. You shouldn't have any decimals in your numerator or denominators. So you multiply by 10, you get 240 over 1,000. Multiplying by 10, move the decimal 1 place to the right. 240 over 1,000 is even, so we divide by 2. 122 over 500. It's still even, both of them, so we divide by 2 again. 6, 1 over 250. So if you take a calculator and divide 250 into 61, you should get decimal 244. See if you're right. We're changing percent to a fraction. So we have decimal 5 over 100 multiplied by 10 because there's a decimal on the top. So that gives me 5 over 1,000. And 5 is GCF. Divide by 5, 1. Divide by 5 into 10 is 2. So we get 200. Another way would be to change your decimal to change your percent to a decimal, which is decimal 005, because it moves 2 places to the left. And now you can make it 5 is in the thousandths place, so it's 5 over 1,000, and you reduce down. How many? Yep. How many did you get right? Change each fraction to a percent. Percent is out of 100, so it's 9%. Percent of out of 100, so it's 53%. Out of 100, so I'll multiply by 10 over 10. That gives me 70 over 100. Multiplying by 10 gives me 100. Multiplying by 10 gives me 70. So 70 over 100 is 70%. Multiply the 20 by 5 to give you 100. So you multiply the numerator by 5. 3 5s are 15 over 100. 15 over 100, 15%. 25 is multiplied by 4 to get 100. So you multiply the top by 4. 4 4s are 44 over 100. 44 over 100, 44%. You should remember that 4 is 0.25 automatically. I've memorized it. But if you didn't, 4 times 25 is 100. 25 on the top. That gives me 25 over 100, which is decimal 25. And 9 over 4, 40 is not nice to divide into hundreds. It's not like a 20, which is times 5, or 25 times 4, or 10 times 10. So let's divide 40 into 9. Remember, I'm doing with a pencil. You can do it with a calculator too. Decimals on the end of each, so move it up. Put a 0 on. 40 into 90 goes 2. Gives me 80. Subtract, get 10. Bring another 0. 40 into 100 goes 2. Gives me 80. Subtract, 0, 2. Bring down another 0. 40 into 200 is 5. So that's, as a decimal 225. And as a percent, it's 22.5%. Or you want 22.5, either or. So the decimals move 2 places to the right. And how many did you get right? Put your score in. Number 5, what we're doing here is that we're doing A over B equals C over D, so we're cross multiplying. That means A times D equals B times C. So 5 times X, 5 times X equals 15 times 3. We divide both sides by 5. So that gives us, there cancels out, and we get an X. So that's, you could say that's 45 over 5, which is 9. Or you can cancel 5 and the 15 goes 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 9 over 1 is 9. Your choice. B, cross multiply. 6 times X equals 8 times 9. We could say 6X, or leave it as 6 times X. 8 9s are 72. And then we can divide by 6. The 6's cancel. Get X. 6 divided into 7 is a 1. 6 into 12 is 2. So we get 12. And how many did you get right? Total them up and you get a 24. Page 3. Find each. It says, what is 40% of 200? So let's set up, what is the X is the equal sign, 40% times 120. So 40% is decimal 40 times 120. And decimal 40 times 120 gives you 48. What is the X? Percent times 25 is 7. Is the equal sign. What is the X? Alpha is the multiplication. And here we can divide by 25 on each side. 25's cancel, and we get X percent. and we got 7 over 25. Use a calculator or multiply the top and bottom by 4. That gives me 28 over 100, and that gives me 28%. So 28% of 25 is 7. 6% of what number is 54? 6% off is the multiplication. What number is the x? Is the equal sign, 54. And we change percent to a decimal. Change a percent to a decimal all the time. And then you work the math. And you divide, 6% is decimal to the right, so you move it 2 places to the left. Divide by decimal 0.6. And they cancel out because you're multiplying by decimal 0.6. You divide them by decimal 6. They cancel out 1 over 1. So that gives you x. And when you divide decimal 0.6 into 54, you'll get a 900. Or, just for a bit of fun, let's divide decimal 0.6 into 54. Use your calculator. I like using my pen. So the decimal into 54 is on the right. 2 places in the divisor, 2 places in your dividend. Move it up. 6 into 54 goes 9. 6 nines are 54. 0. Bring down a 0. 6 into 0 goes 0. Bring down another 0. 6 into 0 goes 0. So 900. Again, if you took your calculator and did 54 divided by decimal 0.6, you should get 900. Number 7. So how many did you get right? Put your score over. Remember, when you did page 3, if you did page 3, you could say, copy down question 6, A, B, C. Copy down question 7, and then you'd put down 6 here, 3 here, and a total of 6, whatever is total. That's good addition. No? 6 plus 3, total is 9. Sometimes our brain does not work the way we want it to, so that's a 9 on that page. Let's do number 7. Which one yields the most and how much more when deposited into a bank account? A, $30,000 at 6% annual for 2 years. B, $28,000 at 10% annual, compounded annually. Notice A is simple interest. B is compound interest. So let's work out A first. We got interest equals principal times rate times time. 30,000 times 6% times 2 years. So that's 30,000 times decimal 0.6 times 2. Take up your calculator and work that out, and you'll get 3600. So when you add that on to your total, so you started off with 30,000, and you're going to add on 3,600, 00633. So that's the total that you get in the bank at the end of the 2 years. B is compound interest, so you have to work it out for each year. Principal interest equals PRT, principal times rate times time. The principal is 28,000. The interest is 10%, and you're doing it for the first year. Because what happens, you get your interest, then you add it on to the 28,000. Then the next year, you're getting what they call interest on interest. That's the compounding. So you're going to, getting compound interest. You're going to get money on your money. And that's the way the banks work. When you multiply that out, not yet though, because I'm going to change my percent to a decimal. And put that in the calculator, and I get 2,800. Now I add that on to my $28,000 that we started off with. And I add the interest after 1 year, which is 2,800. So that gives me 00803. So in the second year, principal interest rate, PRT, my principal is 30,800. Times, my interest is still at 10%, times 1. So that gives me 30,800 times 0.10. And when I multiply that out, or with a calculator, I get 3080, 3080. And I add that on Now, so I have started off with 30800. I now have $3,080. Add that on, I get a 0, an 8, an 8, a 3, and a 3. So when I did simple interest, I got this amount. When I did compound interest, I got that amount. So the more money is, the better the more money is going to be made by B. And so if you take 33880 and subtract 33600, you get a 082. So B gives you more interest, and it gives you $280 more. $280 more. And if you work that out, you got it right, put a 3 there and total it up. And remember, as we do each page, we put the total at the bottom of the scores we're getting. When you get it all done, total up all your bottom numbers, and you'll get your number out of 60 converted to percent. This is page 4, so page 4 should have an 8, a 9, a 10, and 11, and you're going to work them out. And when you get them worked out, remember you're pausing, you're working them out, and see if you get the right answers. So we're having an increase of 4% a year, food increase and a price of 4% in a year. If the steak costs $16.20 at the beginning of the year, what's the price of the steak at the end of the year rounded to the nearest cent? Okay, we have 4% times 16.20. Decimal 04 times 16.20. And that gives us 0.648. So that's rounded to the nearest cent. It's 65. So if you want to keep it in terms of dollars and cents, and when I say cents, decimal 65, that's the cents. So we have to, if this number is 5 or more, we add 1 on to the 4. 4 plus 1 is 5, and this one becomes a 0. So we've made the price increased by 65 cents. So that means it was $16.20. And now we add on the 65. So we have a 5, 8, so 1685. Decimal under the decimal, done. 1685 is our price. But some people like to do this one different. What about if you took 100% of your price and you added on your 4%? That will give you 104% increase. So if you took 104% times the 1620, which is 1.04 times 1620, you would get 16,848, and you round that off to the nearest cent is 16.85. So notice here, you took the percent of the number, which is an increase, and added on. Over here, you add your percent onto 100 and multiplied by a number and got your answer. So you decide which way you want to go when you have increases and decreases. Number 9, the rainfall last week was 80 millimeters. This week the rainfall is 100. What is the percent of increase? So 100 minus the 80 is a 20 millimeter increase. So you take the 20, which is your increase, and you put over the original amount, which is 80. So 20 over 80 is 2 out of 8, which is 1/4. And we know 1/4 to be 25%. Or multiply by 25 over 25, which is 25 over 100. 25 over 100 is 25%. But I've memorized 1/4 to be decimal 25 or 25%. And did he get it right? Put the score in. Next one, a sailboat depreciated 15% in price. If the initial price was $800 or $8,000, what was the depreciation price? So that would the price after you take off to depreciate is like a discount. So if you take 15% times 8,000, That gives you decimal 15 times 8,000. So that gives you 1,200 when you use a calculator. And so 8,000 minus the depreciation price, that's a 7, that's a 10, that's an 8. So that gives you $6,800 is your depreciation price. But if you want, you can take your 100%, take off the 15%, that gives you 85%. That's what you got left to pay, or what the price is going to be, I should say. So 85% times 8,000, decimal 85 times 8,000, and that gives you 6,800. So again, two choices. Percent of a number, in this case you're subtracting it, or subtract a percent and multiply your percent by the price, either or, your choice. What score did you get? A stock market went from 2,000 points to 1,800 points. So 2,000 down to 1,800, that's 200 points decrease. Notice it's a decrease. And we got to find what is the percent of decrease. Stock market went from 2,000 to 18,000 one day. What was the percent of decrease in one day? So I went ahead of myself. I subtracted and got my 200. Now I put 200, which is my decrease, over the original, which is 2,000. Scratch, divide by 10, divide by 10 again, or divide by 100. You get 2 over 20. 2 into 2 goes once. 2 into 20 goes 10. 1/10 is 10%. Or multiply by 10 over 10, which is 10 over 100. And 10 over 100 is 10%. Or another way, 1/10 is 10. The 1 has to go into 10th place. So if you got decimal 1 and you move your decimal 2 places to the right, 1, 2, then you get 10%. So whatever way you want to go. What did you get it right? Put this mark here and add them up. And page 5, write down 12, 13, and 14. Pause, work them out, and then see if you're going to get the right answers. So notice they're designed for you to work them out to see if you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, excellent. If you don't, go back and review some of my videos. John correctly answered 90% of the 40 questions. If he answered 90, so 90% times the 40, which is decimal 90 times 40, 90% gives him 36 questions right. And if we got 36 questions right, it says how many questions were answered incorrectly. So this is the number correct. So if he had 40 questions and he answered 36 correctly, he means he answered 4 incorrectly. So you do your score. Or if you want to find how many he answered incorrectly, so if you took 100% and took off the 90, you would get 10%. So if 90% is correct, 10% must be what he got wrong. So if you take 10% times 40, decimal 10 times 40, that's 4. So he got 4 wrong. So remember, 10% is percent wrong. Over here, the 90% is what's correct. So you notice here you do the percent of the number and take it away. Here I subtracted the percent and worked on the number. A fishing rod listed at 160 sold for 180. So that means $180, $184, take off $160, will give you $24 sales tax. And what was the percent of sales tax? So the percent of sales tax is the 24 over the 160. Because it's a percent. Or you could write out an equation is percent times 160 equals to 24. So the sales tax is 24. So what percent of 160 gives you the 24? So you divide by 160. And so what happens? They cancel out. And you get the same as here. And if you divide by 4, you get an 8. Divide by 4, you get 40. Divide by 8, you get a 1. Divide by 8, you get a 5. And did I work it out? 8, 3. Divide by 8, 3 8s are 24. And 2 8s. So I divided wrong. I cancel wrong. So let's have a go again. Divide by 2, 12, 80. Divide by 2, 6 and 40. Divide by 2, 3 and 20. Right. I divided by 8 incorrectly up here. So I got 1. I should have 3/20ths. And 3/20ths times 5. Oh, 5 over 5. Why 5? Because 5 gives me 100. 3 5s is 15. So I have a 15% sales tax. Sorry for that. I divided wrong right here. Notice I reduced by 2 and 2 and 2. Well, you get there, but it just takes you longer. Number 14. Oh, don't forget to put your score in. Calculate the percent commission on, well, we did $1,280 of sales. What is your rate of commission? If the rate of commission is 7.4%, sorry. Calculate the commission earned on $1,280 of sales if the rate of commission is 7.4. So we want the amount of money earned. So the rate of commission is that percent. So we change it to a decimal 0.074. Move it 2 places to the left. And when you work that out with a calculator, you get $94.72. Again, commission is the amount you're earning. So it's 7.4% times sales. Put your score in, add it out. And the last page, you should have on this page a 15 and a 16 working these out. Fresh grapes placed on a shelf in the store either spoiled or are sold. Notice they're either spoiled or sold. So if you got all the grapes, then you got some that will spoil or they're sold. Either or. No, only 2 choices. This is what this problem is saying. So if 70 pounds spoiled, if you think about it, there's 70 pounds right there. We don't know how many were sold, so that's X. But how many? But we do know that 80% is sold. Let's see what happens. So if 80% is sold, that means that if you take 180 out of 100, you get 20% not sold. That means that's the ones that are spoiled. So the 20% is the same as 70. So 20% that's spoiled times the number of grapes on the shelf is going to be a 70. So the X don't go right there. We're looking for X to be there, but we don't know how many was sold. So, but we know 80%. So think this way: 80% sold, therefore 20% not sold. So 20% is the percent spoiled. So 20% of the number is 70. So we change it to a decimal, and we divide by decimal 20, both sides. Cancels to give you ones. So X is 7 divided by decimal 20 is 350 grapes. Again, this is designed different in the thinking. Different. So we tried to fill in this here, but the X had to go right here for the number of grapes. So I had to get, what is this right here? I had to work this around. So when I thought about it, you say, oh, now I can see it. 80% sold, 20% not. So it's 20% of the total. Again, the problem is designed a little bit in this different thinking, not the normal. 16, a liter of gas costs $1.10. The price increased by 20, and it increased by 20 in 1 week, decreased by 30 in another week. Find to the nearest cent the new price. Now note here, you can't take 10 from these two, the difference, and take 10% off of that. It doesn't work. You have to work out each one individually. So you take 20% times $1.10. That's decimal 20 times $1.10. So that gives me decimal 2 or 22 cents. When you add that on, you get $1.10. Add on the 22 cents. So that gives you, with an increase of $1.32. Now you do your decrease on this. So your decrease is 30% times the $1.32. Decimal 30 times the $1.32. And when you multiply that out, you get $1.32 times that is decimal 396. And we're talking about to the nearest cent, so we can call that a 40. The 6 is greater than 5, so you add 1 to 9 to give you 0. 3 plus 1 is 4, so that's closer to 40 cents. So that's a decrease. So now you have to take $1.32 and subtract the 40 cents. And if you subtract, you get a 2. Can't do that, so that becomes a 0. That becomes a 13. That's a 9. So the final price of the gas after the second week is $90. You want to put a 0 there. Decimal 92 of $1, or you could say 92 cents, whatever you want, your choice. But since I've emphasized, why don't we work it this way? We got an increase, so that's another way to do it is 100 plus a 20. So we got 120%. So 120% of the $1.10 is 1.2 times the $1.10. So that gives us 132 right away. So again, we took the 20%, found out decimal 20, and added it on. Over here, we added on the percent to get 120, and then we did the percent of the number. So 2 choices. And now we have a decrease. So a decrease of 30% going down is 100 minus 30. So if you got a decrease of 30, you must have 70% left. So 70% times the price of $1.32. What does that give you? It gives you 0.924. So that gives you close to 0.92. The 4 is not bigger than 5, so we leave the 2 as it is, and we don't add on, so it's decimal 92. So now we have to answer. So again, this is quicker. But if you're used to doing it this on the left side, go for it. What mark did you get? Did you get 92 cents or decimal 92 rounded off? If so, put a 3 over. Sometimes in word problem, you get part answers, but you make a mistake, then you get 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3. So it's your choice what you want to assign to yourself. Add them up, you got a 6. At this point, you take all the pages, look at the bottom numbers, add them all up, and then you put your mark over 60. So you add them all up, you go back to page 1, which is here. Put your score over 60, divide 60 into that number, get a decimal, and then change the decimal to 2%. And then you got how well you did on percent problems. If you like my video, click on the like button, subscribe button, the notification bell, write a comment if you wish, and visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com. There you get information from me, the videos. One section tells you what teaching style I'm going to use to help you learn, and the section on content gives you the topics of the units and the number of videos in each topic. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.